So this is my PSA for you. What's a PSA? What do you think I'm about to say? No, it's not about Netflix.
I know.
Yeah, you do know.
I'm gonna guess. Go ahead.
So here's the one thing I want to say. We all have political views. I have some, you have some. We don't have to agree, that's okay. Here's the thing. I like money enough to keep my flipping political views off of Facebook. And I would encourage you to do the same thing. That's my PSA for you. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Asian, Indonesian, Martian, as long as your money is green, I'm happy to help you buy and sell a house. What I know though is that if my political views conflict with yours, and I take a stance on mine on Facebook, whose money am I never gonna get to help them buy a house? Right? So just put yourself in a position to where you're neutral. Like when you're in real estate or you're in any sort of peer-to-peer sales business, you need to be Switzerland. Have whatever conversation you want to have behind closed doors with your family and friends. It doesn't serve you to go, and I've read it from our agents. If that was so-and-so and my daughter and this, that, and the other, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. How many of your clients just unfriended you and told their friends to unfriend you? This is too heated to get involved in the Midwest. Like, we're not in the politics business. We're in the real estate business. Let's stick to real estate. Does that help? Capiche? Everybody? And if you don't, what's that? Yeah.
He's writing me in and I'm writing him in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who I'm voting for. I live in California. That's already predetermined.
Once my kids were at the dinner table one night, my kids said, "Dad, why don't you run?" I said, "Honey, I'm what's called unelected." What do you mean by that? You'll understand later.
All right, let's start the way we always start. 3 good things. What do y'all got? Give me something good. How many? Dude, it's the 10th. Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say it's the 10th. There's 10 days and you're only at 5. Give me a break. Come on. Good work. Very good work. Who else? Who wants to go behind 5 escrows in the last 30 days? That's pretty good, man. I have something good. We had family come into town, and my wife has a huge family, and we got to spend the weekend with them, and we had dogs over and the whole thing. So last night there was like 10 people, 4 dogs, and craziness at our house, which is fun because I don't know if y'all know this, when we left Tucson, we left our entire family behind in Tucson. So we hardly ever get to see our family. So that's kind of cool. Good way to spend a weekend. Anybody else have something good, something exciting they want to share? I think we have some guests here. You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi guys, my name is Ramin. Excited to be here, learn from Beth, and hopefully I get to meet people individually and to them too.
Cool. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Nick Guerra. I met with him the other day. I guess I'll share something. So yesterday I had an open house. I had 0 showings. So I told my partner, I said, next time we're going to have too many showings.
There you go. I like it. Good work. Anybody else? Any other guests? I didn't see any other guests. Jeff's kind of like a guest. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, Placester. I'm going to get to you guys in just a minute. When you guys got my email and I talked about Placester and generating leads with it, I see faces in here that I don't always see at team meetings. So what are you hoping to get out of that? Say it again.
I don't know what Placester is.
Okay, perfect.
I need to learn.
So learn more about that. What else are y'all hoping to get out of it?
Lead generation tool.
Lead generation tool. What else? All right, do we need to do calisthenics to wake everybody up before we start with this?
Is your team this Placester?
Uh-huh.
Maybe you could tell us the pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, challenges, that kind of thing.
So let's talk about the internet in general for a minute. Let's just talk about real estate. How do you find your clients in real estate? There's 2, think at the very top of the mountain, there are 2 ways to find them. What are they?
Online and offline.
Okay, so you can prospect or you can market. That's like when you simplify it as much as possible, there's prospecting and there's marketing. So what's the upside to prospecting? Okay, so hang on. So is it free?
Cost effective.
Why is it not free? What is your time valuable? How valuable is it? Well, look, here's the thing. I love people that change their own oil because they say, I'm saving money to change my own oil. But my favorite people are engineers that they make $65 an hour and they go to change their own oil and they save $8 to change their oil and it takes them 2 hours. So what it costs them to change their oil is about $122, right? Because if they had just put in those same 2 hours at work, that's what they would have made. But you know what? They get gratification, fulfillment, and joy out of changing their own oil. So is that okay? Absolutely, right? There's some agents that they really, really, really love prospecting. What's the inherent challenge with prospecting as an agent? Consistency, time. Let's say that I am like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of prospecting, that I have more discipline than it would ever take to prospect as much, as long, as frequently, and I never miss a day, I never get sick, and I'm perfect at it. What's the inherent challenge with prospecting?
You can't replicate it. You can't replicate it. You can't replicate yourself or make more deals a week.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, everybody in this room has the same challenge, and it's called 24 hours in a day. And even if I was to prospect every single waking moment that I possibly could, I'm regulated by do not call laws, the need to sleep, the need to eat, and sooner or later I generate so much business I run out of time to prospect, right? So when you look at the top agents in the industry that are selling 50, 60, 80, 100 houses a year, where do you think the majority of their business comes from? That's a weak answer. How many of you think it's marketing? How many think it's prospecting? Okay. So the majority of the top agents doing 100 plus deals a year, 80% of it's marketing. Now a lot of that is repeat and referral, but if I have 19,000 people in my database, am I prospecting to my database or am I marketing to my database? Marketing. My favorite question to ask, and for any of you that's ever had a one-on-one coaching session with me, is what? What are you doing to generate leads while you sleep? Because until you learn to generate leads while you sleep, your business runs into a scale wall called 24 hours in a day. The beauty of Placester and these online tools is what?
They work when you're sleeping.
They work when you're sleeping. And I'm gonna show you all 3 easy ways. One is Craigslist, one is blogging, and the other one is social media advertising. Social media advertising costs you some money, but look, I had the idea to do this a week ago today. I started doing this a week ago today. I think I pumped $119 into Facebook ads and I got 5 viable leads, one of which already came in and did a buyer consult with my team. Would you pay $119 for a buyer consult?
Yeah.
Yes. And being that I had the idea a week ago and we already had our first buyer consult and I shelled out a little bit less than we spend on sushi every Sunday, I think it worked out, right? So this is the majority of my business with my team for a long time was internet driven. The challenge with the internet is that it's a little bit inundated. So like when we used to post on Craigslist, there's a point in time where I'd hired a software developer, we're 100 grand deep into this solution. We're posting a Craigslist ad in 143 metropolitan areas every 11 seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're generating over 2,900 website registrations every week in like 10 different states. Craigslist used to be the tool. What happened to Craigslist? Saturation, but there's a bigger issue with Craigslist.
Filters.
They changed the rules, and now you can no longer use HTML on Craigslist. Do you know what that means?
Can't program it.
That in order, so I'm gonna show you all an ad to post, and we're gonna put a web link in the ad. So the only way somebody can get to that web link, they can't click on it. To go to your site, they have to copy and paste it. Now, what percentage of human beings know how to copy and paste off of Craigslist into another browser? I don't know, but I will tell you it's some because you get leads from it. But it's not as many as know how to click on something. So I'm going to show you those. Blogging, Craigslist, social media. The one thing that I said that I would never do before I became a team leader was teach technology. So I want to lay the ground rules for this conversation. We're going at the speed at which I deliver it, not the speed at which you understand it. What does that mean?
No questions.
No, you can ask questions. There's a reason we're recording it. With tech, if you're super tech savvy, what I deliver to you today, you'll be like, oh, I got it, that's easy. You don't even tell me anymore. You said Craigslist, you said blogging, you said Facebook ads, I got it. And for those of you that are back there, come on up and sit down. For those that are not tech savvy, you're gonna hear it and you're gonna go, that's cool. He made it look really easy, but then you're gonna go try to do it and what's gonna happen? You'll get STUCK, and that's okay. Because you're gonna have the video to refer back to, and also this same stuff is what Joel is now once a week doing e-edge classes on to help you have access to this kind of information. The other thing that I'll tell you is this, anything that's scalable in marketing, what's the part of it that makes it so amazing?
You can replicate it.
You can replicate it and go how big?
Very big.
As big as you wanna go. Last year, Ben and his team did over 600 transactions across 3 states entirely off of Google AdWords. Not a bad business, right? So you can go as big as you want to go, it's just how big are you willing to play. The other cool part about this is this. Tech is very easy for a lot of people, it's very not easy for a lot of other people. For the people it's very not easy for, give your credit card to somebody that's very easy for. That solves the whole problem. So you don't need to learn this stuff, but if generally you understand how the tactic works, there are companies that you can pay to just do this for you. Capiche? Okay, now that I've laid the ground rules for how we teach technology, hopefully I'll keep true to that. You're up. What do you got? Mortgage tip?
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of the month here soon. Do we have any folks falling out of escrow? How are you escrows doing? You got escrow?
Apparently they're all good.
Okay. Well, just to reiterate, we have the 911 scenario, so we try to, take those escrows that are falling out, get them back in, pay for that appraisal, and we can definitely, 10, 12 days to try and save your escrow. Timely COEs if we can. That might be pushed a little bit. So just wanted to reiterate that. We're coming in, middle of the month. You guys might have something falling out.
Good, I don't have anything falling out.
No.
But no, hey, you guys, so rates are still really, really low. We're in the low 3s for government loans and mid 3s for conventional. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but you guys know what this month equates to? 1 year anniversary of TRID going into effect last year. So you guys remember TRID? Was everybody stressing about it? And so now that the whole, upheaval of the system and everything changed around, you guys know that nothing really changed in the loan world, except for a few lenders are still running at 30 to 45, some 60 days. But last week I was at a lenders conference out in Palm Desert for a week, and it was about 1,500 high-producing loan officers get together, share ideas, and I was watching this one guy who does about 160 million a year in production, and one of the things he said, which really reiterates, because what Jeremiah's going to talk to you about is how to generate leads. I mean, everybody's always learning how to generate leads. But what do you do when you have these leads and you close a transaction for it? So he studied his database of about 800. He keeps his database at about 800 people that he constantly does loans for over the years. And what he found is about 17% every year will do something with their mortgage. Now, a lot of times it's selling to, upsize or move up or to relocate. But think about this for a minute, especially for the people who've been doing real estate for a long time, or even the people that are just starting out now. If you've got a database of 600 or 800, and you nurture that, and you massage it, and you stay in touch with the buyers, if only 17% did something on a yearly basis, that's 136 transactions, and that's what he lives off of. 136 automatically coming in, and then he's still lead generating. So make sure that you've got a database management system going on, because if you're not staying in touch with them, somebody else is like me. We're calling them. So just food for thought.
Anything else? You got broker tip?
Yeah.
What do you got?
So, guys, I know we've talked about this a few times. I just want to re-emphasize it because it comes across our desk probably weekly. But the importance of doing a buyer-broker agreement. When we take a listing, would anybody take a listing without them signing a listing agreement? Can you even do that? No. Same thing with the buyer-broker agreement. You guys really want to let your clients know that it's to their benefit, that they know that you're providing them a level of service is above and beyond what the normal realtor does out there. That being said, I call it kind of agent repellent. When you have that buyer broker agreement, when those other agents are trying to circle around your client, you pop that up and you can get rid of those agents away from them. And it allows you to protect yourself. So it happens weekly. So if you haven't been stung, you will be stung. So buyer broker agreement.
Anything, Dad?
Y'all have heard about wire fraud in our industry, yes? Right? Wanted to read something to you that I got last week. There's a new form, of course, on CAR called WFA. It's the Wire Fraud Advisory. We need to look at that, and we should probably include it in the mandatory forms. I know it's one more signature. I hate it too. And the wire fraud is rampant. And here's how it affects you all. The battle goes on involving email hacking and the focus on thieves on real estate, lenders, banks, title companies, settlement, escrow company, and other businesses. The perpetrators seek to steal money from the depositories and service providers, commonly using faked emails. A lawsuit involving forged wire instructions was filed on May 16, 2016 by First American Title Company against Tanisha Zapata and others in case blah, blah, blah in Los Angeles. First American Title Company contends that the defendants hacked the email of the real estate salesperson to send false wire instructions for the seller's proceeds at closing. First American Title Company states that the email appeared to be genuine, and as such, the escrow officer followed the false instructions and wired out the funds. Although the identification of the perpetrators is not completely clear at this time, it should be resolved as the case matures. They hardly ever find it. First of all, First American Title Company had to come up with $513,000, $500,000 to balance the escrow. It then sued persons named in the complaint, including the real estate agent, whose email was hacked, claiming that under California Civil Code, he failed to implement and maintain reasonable security procedures and practices to protect the personal information of the seller from unauthorized access, use, modification, or disclosures. Now, if you all had to answer this question, how would you answer it? Don't anybody answer, it's rhetorical. What safety precautions are in your email or with your email provider to help you not get hacked so that you're not one of the people being sued?
I hope they don't win that case, because it'll set a crazy precedent.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
And the thieves are trying to hack into your email accounts every day. Our email, every day. So make sure that you're not opening odd documents. They do it with DocuSign and Gmail. Make sure that you know who it's coming from. Read the email address and make sure that you know. And if you have a question, text or call that person and say, did you send me an email? I bet I send that message out to people 15 times a week.
You know, another easy way is when you reply and it shows a weird address, you'll know it right away.
Yeah.
That's how my hack buddies.
So be really careful and make sure.
No, I mean,
If you're on a Mac,
all the time. Reply.
if you're on a Mac, you're safer. If you're on a PC,
Go to reply, I'm telling you, and if it's a weird thing, it'll say .eu or
Yeah.
Canada, it happens all the
But
time.
the big one is they hack an email and then they use that person's legit email to send out to everyone.
What they do is everybody's gotten this email at some point recently, and if not, it means you don't read your email. It'll say something like, I have a client requirement, please open the attached document to see what they're looking for. When you open that, it installs a virus on your computer that logs every keystroke that you make, and then they figure out what your password is. They just wait, then they watch, and they don't do anything. And they just wait and watch your email, and then when Title sends you wiring instructions, they intercept it, change your password, change the wiring instruction, and send it to the other party to get the money diverted to their bank. So you may be hacked now, so one great precaution would be every 30 days, change your password. Probably not a bad plan to do.
and in our escrow company, I've instructed them that we only wire money out from from seller's proceeds when we have an original.
We make sure that's on. Recording.
Notarized wire form. We don't change wiring, where we're wiring the money at the last minute, because that's usually when it happens. And when it gets weird, just stop and come talk to me. Because what happens at closing? Everybody's in frenzy. Everybody's trying to move fast, got another deal over here, right? That's what we do. And then they get mad at escrow or title when they're not. We're always going to protect the money. Always. And ask a bunch of questions to make sure that we're sending the money to the right place. Okay.
Some escrow companies now, they're actually using encrypted, like I get a
You have to.
passcode and I can't get it unless it's from my email, from the same passcode.
Every escrow company should be on that now.
Yeah, not everybody, but some of them.
And the only requirement is that the encrypted emails only need to be ones that include social security numbers, bank account information, anything with a number in it is pretty much going to get encrypted. If it's just a, hey, wanted to check in, here's an update, that's probably not going to get encrypted. Okay.
Are we ready?
Now let's lead generate.
Are y'all ready to go to the fantasy land of unicorns and internet lead generation with me? Okay, so here I got to teach you the fundamentals of internet lead generation before I dig into the how-to, because believe it or not, the how-to is much easier than you think it is. So there's a handful of things you need to know. Traffic to lead, lead to conversion. So understand traffic and leads. That's number one. Number two is you need to understand response and timeline. What do I mean by that? How fast you respond, and then what's timeline? Their timeline. How long it takes a lead to nurture out from an online source. And then number three is how to generate leads. So the first two, this is just your basics. So understand traffic and leads. What's traffic?
People click on the site, get to the site.
People click on the site to get to the site. So how can people get to your site?
Google.
Facebook, Instagram.
Ads, they see on third-party
They could see the sign on your listing. They could see the sign on your business card. They could see ads on third-party websites, right? There's a million ways. Believe it or not, getting the lead to your site solves this whole problem. Internet lead generation is nothing more than a traffic game. Now, the other side of traffic is what I always like to call the mousetrap. The mousetrap is, how do you get people to give you their contact information? So think of it, the internet is nothing more than the world's largest open house. If I stood at the door to the open house and I said, ma'am, before you come in, I'm going to need your contact information, name, phone number, and email. How much contact information would I get?
Very little,
I would get a lot. A high percentage of the people that came into the open house would give me their name, phone number, and email address, because to get past me through the door, they have to give it. Now, how much of it would be accurate? Probably not a lot. How many of those people would be really excited to talk to me and want to work with me? Not that many, okay? So this is the top level of internet lead generation. This is called forced. This is, you get to a website, you get to a landing page, you get somewhere. Before you can do anything on the website, ma'am, I'm going to need your contact information to get into the website. It takes about 10 people to come to this website to get one lead, okay? Now, when we get those leads, what's going to happen with those leads? Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Charlie Chaplin, they're going to give you fake information, and then about how many of those leads will actually convert into a client? It's roughly 1% to 2%, okay? So that means, how many leads do I need to sell a house? Okay, I need roughly 100, plus or minus, per closing. After forced comes what we call mid-level. Now let's pretend it goes like this. Deanne walks into my open house. I go, welcome to the open house. Take a look around. I let her get through 1 or 2 rooms, and then I stop her and I go, ma'am, you've looked at 1 or 2 rooms. In order to see the remainder of the house, I'm going to ask for your name and your contact information.
First of all, I'd say, don't call me ma'am.
That's mid-level. Mid-level is going to be somewhere closer to 15 to 1. So that means we need 15 people to come to the site, play around for a minute. They'll look at 2, maybe 3 homes. Once they look at 2, maybe 3 homes, we're going to get their contact info. Now, the nice part is with mid-level, we're going to double our conversion rate to somewhere as high as 2 to 4%. So now, how many leads do I need to sell a house? Probably 50 to 75. So we'll say 50 to maybe 75 leads. Okay? The last kind is what we call open. What's open mean? Welcome to the open house. Show yourself around. And then I'm going to sit there and I'm not even going to say, would you like to give me your contact info? I'm just going to stand there long enough in hopes that Deanne comes back to me and goes, so I have a question. That's what open is, all right? So what's an example of an open real estate site? Zillow, right? So what's Zillow's deal? You go on the site, you use the site. Does it ever say, give us your contact info to continue? Now they're starting to. Like they're starting to lock down certain features, but for all intents and purposes, they can go do whatever they want. Now here, what's going to drive how many people you need on the site to give you leads, to get a lead from the site? So this is massively subjective based on quality of content. Generally, you're going to need somewhere around 1,000 site visitors to get 1 lead. Now, when you get 1 lead, if you get the lead that says, yeah, I'm looking at a couple houses and now you made me register, and then you follow up with that person, how different is the person that's just cruising around and they fill out a form that says, I'd like to go see this house? So with these guys, we can get as high as 10 to even 20% conversion rates. So how many leads do you need to sell a house here? 10 to maybe as few as 20 leads. Or I'm sorry, 5 to maybe 10 leads. So what kind of leads do you want?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say 10 to 1 for the leads,
Uh-huh.
at what point do the cell phone numbers come into play here?
What do you mean?
Verify like the info?
So what this means is that if 10 people visit my website, one of those 10 people is going to fill out my little form that gives me their name, their phone number, their email address. Now how accurate that is, that's what drives this down to 1 to 2% of those people will actually buy or sell with me. Good question.
One more question.
Keep them coming.
So those are actually conversions, or those are legit leads?
So these are people where you have 1 piece of valid contact information and potentially a name.
Okay.
This is an open house sign-in sheet. That's how I want you to think of this.
1 to 2% is actual closed transactions.
That's this over here. These are closed transactions. Okay.
But that 1,000 means 1,000 people had to click or go to your site.
1,000 people had to go to your site to get to 1 person to register. Good question. So now let's do the math. If I need 10 people to my site to get 1 lead, and I need 100 leads to sell a house, how many site visitors do I need to sell a house? Okay. If I need 15 people to get to my site, and it's going to take me 50 to 75, let's look at the high end. How many site visitors do I need to sell a house? 75 times 15. 1,125. If I need 1,000 leads to get 1 person to register, and I need on the high side 10, how many site visitors do I need to sell a house? What's your aha? What? Well, think of it this way. If I'm standing at an open house, how many people come in an average open house? 20, 25, is that a fair number? If it's like a well-priced listing in a good neighborhood with great signage, 20, 25. If you talk to 20, 25 people at an open house, how many are you going to sell a house to? Maybe one? It may be 2 or 3 open houses to get to one. Is that a fair statement? Right? Okay, so how's that any different than here if I have 75 people come through my website, my virtual open house, and I'm probably going to sell somewhere around one house? The people often complain about internet leads being low quality. I can time and time and time again make a fact-based argument that says these are the same quality as people that wander through your open house. The difference is I just don't have to sit there to get them. Now, I've got to be more tenacious in my follow-up with these because I don't have the ability to engage them face-to-face. Questions about this part? Here's the last part that I'll tell you is on average, if you're paying for traffic, it's going to cost you $1. So if you're $1 per visit. So what makes the most sense where to spend your money? Forced. What everybody says though is, well, the consumer experience is really what when you do forced registration?
They find it annoying.
They find it annoying. They don't want to have to register. They're going to leave nasty comments on your Facebook if you're forcing them to register. They're going to send you hate mail. They're going to call you and say this is such a pain. Guess what? Now you got their number. Exactly. I love it. Look, as an office, we do a little bit of forced registration through our Team Leads platform. And some of our best conversions are when people comment on the post and they say, why do you advertise and then make us give us your contact information? This is BS. And then we comment back and we say, we're sorry that we created a poor consumer experience. The IDX rules require that we ask for registration whenever we show pending or sold data on a site, and this site shows that. By the way, what are you looking for? What do you think that they say? They go, we're really looking for a 4-bedroom house in this part of town, da 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 da. Then you send them a private message and you go, if I could show you that house without you having to scour online, would you be interested? And what do they say every single time? Yes. Call me at this number. Seriously, the best clients, have y'all ever looked at Yelp studies that they do on businesses? Why is Yelp valuable for businesses? Is it the good reviews that they get, or is it how they handle the negative reviews? The entire opportunity of Yelp is in how they handle the negative reviews. Yours is the same online. All right, so if this is what we know, where do we want to spend the majority of our time? If we're using paid ads, where should we be? Forced. Now, if we're using unpaid ads like SEO, do we really care because the traffic didn't cost us anything? Right? So those are kind of the strategies that you'll notice. As you look at SD Lookup here in our office, they do all SEO-based advertising. They don't do hardly any spend. They never will ask for client contact information. They get about 200,000 unique site visitors every month. They get about 200 leads out of that. Pretty easy formula. Can I take this down? Everybody got the math? Say that again.
If you're doing paid and you're doing SEO.
Yeah, sure.
Blend in the middle and do mid-level, or would you just keep it at forced?
I would just keep it at forced if it was my site. I would rather chase somebody off than lose somebody that I had an opportunity with. So now, let's talk about response time and timeline. Okay, so step 1 is that a lead is going to register on your site. We'll call this the 0 line. Okay? At what time frame does the consumer expect that you're going to respond to them within?
15 minutes.
The consumer expects that you will respond within 5 minutes. So 5 minutes and 1 second becomes opportunity time. What I mean by that is if you go to 30 minutes, you give up 30% of your opportunity to sell that client. If you go to 1 hour, you lose 60%. Beyond 1 hour, the chance is virtually zero. You have virtually thrown the money and the lead away if you don't call them within the 1 hour. And that's why they call it the golden hour. So what's your aha?
You have to have a system that you can call them back in 5 minutes.
You-
That's sort of a response.
You need to have a system to where you can call people quickly, especially if they're asking for help. Now, if they're registering and you're forcing them to register, does this become more or less important? A little bit less, but it still shows speed to response. So why is it so important to get to them quickly?
Someone else will.
Somebody else will, because if they're shopping on your website, where else are they shopping? Everywhere else. Why else is it important to get to them quickly?
67% of the time they don't go to a second person.
67% of the time they don't go to a second person. I want you to think of internet lead generation as an open house. It's like I said this before. If somebody was walking through your open house for 5 minutes and you didn't talk to them, what would they be thinking?
You're not interested.
If they were wandering through the house for 30 minutes and you didn't speak to them, what would they be thinking?
More awkward.
It's the same thing. It really is identical, the same thing. They're a consumer that they've come into your sales floor. It just happens that your sales floor is now online. No different, right? So now let's talk about the expectation, because I think this is the most missed part of internet lead generation. Why do people search for homes online? Because why? Because they don't want to talk to you. What else?
They can do it on their time schedule when they feel like doing it.
They can do it on their own time. What else?
So they buy everything else.
That's how they buy everything else. Well, that's your generation, not every generation. Okay, there's 3 blocks of time within which most internet buyers buy. The whole reason, so what the internet's done for our industry is it's given people access to a whole bunch of information long before they're ready to do anything with it. So if we're forcing them to register on our website long before they're ready to do anything with it, now what? What's that mean for your conversion time? It's going to take longer. So remember we talked about the 0 line. Your response 1 is in 5 minutes. 6 months out, 12 months out, 18 months out. At a 4% conversion rate, so if I get 100 leads, I'm going to have 1 that is going to fall somewhere in here. I'm going to have 2 that are going to fall somewhere in here. And I'm going to have 1 that falls somewhere in here. And sometimes that even runs out here. Uh-huh. No. What I'm saying is if we have 100 leads and we convert 4% total, this is generally what it looks like. 1 is semi-immediate, 2 are within a year but outside of 6 months, and then the other 1 or however many more you find are on the other side of 12 months out. It's funny, I was just looking at my team's pipeline. We just put a lead in escrow today that originally registered on our website in 2013. So how long is that? It was March 2013. 3.5 years later. And they've been looking at the website religiously almost every single day. And we've been talking to them probably twice a month. Finally, they got their credit cleaned up. They saved their down payment. Everything's good and they're ready to go. We put them in escrow. That's a $180,000 house. That's a big one for us. There's 4 numbers in the commission check. That's exciting. It's a good day in Tucson.
I'm mainly hearing buyers right now,
Uh-huh.
right? Would you say it's 1 out of 5 are sellers because they have to sell by?
So the number 1 source of seller leads online is sell bys. They come in as a buyer and they go, well, before I can do anything, I need to sell my house. So you end up selling them and buying them. What you notice I'm not going to talk about today is like seller landing pages for home valuations. I think that's the most gigantic waste of money on the planet. If you're the only thing I've seen work online that's strictly seller-based is fast cash offer, I'll buy your house, all cash, 10-day close. But your cost per lead on those is so prohibitive that most people, like to buy that lead in San Diego, it's going to take you probably $500 per lead to buy that lead. And it's going to take you 5 or 6 of them to be able to find one. So you're going to have to kick out $3,000 to make 10 grand, which in theory is a really good trade. The difference is you may have to kick out 30 before you make 1. So when you start getting into like that seller space online, the investor market's so heavy right now and it's so cash driven that they're just squeezing all the little guys out because they want to make $100,000 when they flip it, not a $10,000 commission. Does that make sense? Yeah. But so what I would focus on for now for internet leads is sell buys. Now, why are buyers so much easier to find than sellers online? What's the bait that we fish for buyers with? Listings, right? What's the bait that we fish for sellers with? Could be I have buyers, could be what?
Results.
We could show our results.
Best price.
We could tell them we'll get the best price. We can do guaranteed home sales. We can offer to buy their house for cash. It's a little bit harder to come up with, right? It's more elusive to find buyers online or sellers online than buyers. That's why what you're going to hear is the majority of this stuff is buyer driven. So what's your aha here? So what's the expectation of the first time we're going to reach out to them? And then how long may it take for them to actually buy something?
3 years.
Could take 3 years. I'm just finally getting over my longest transaction ever was a 3.5-year short sale. From the time we went under contract to the time we closed. So this is, if you're going to play with internet leads and you're going to do it, you can start generating business quickly, but just know that the closings, like when you get to 6 months in, get excited because that means it's about to start getting decent. When you get to a year in, know that now it's really going to get good because the year you've been doing it, everybody's starting to hit that year timeline. So you know that anybody that's a year in, that's been in your system, they're going to start to pop. Does that make sense? That real estate's not a short timer's game. This is a long-term game. All right. Questions on this part? Does this help to know like the ground rules of what you should be doing and expecting online before you start? Mm-hmm. So timeline and frequency. So what we do on my team is we do they call it a 9x9, but it really I think should be called a 3x3. We call them morning, noon, and night, and we use all 3 of our communication methods, which is phone, text, email, until we get a 2-way dialogue going for the first 3 days. So if you registered, like somebody registered last night on our website, they got a phone call, text, and email this morning at 9 o'clock. Around noon, they're going to get a phone call, text, and email that says, hey, we left you an email a little bit earlier. We know you're busy. We just want to follow up. They're going to get another one at 5:30 before the ISA goes home that says, hey, I'm sure things are busy. We work after hours too. Give us a call tonight. If not, we'll try back in the morning. And they get 9 phone calls, texts, and emails over the course of 3 days. Now, what happens if they don't pick up the phone, answer, or respond to any of those within that time frame? We just kick it out 7 days, and then for the next month, we follow up every 7 days, phone, text, email once a day. If we get to the end of 30 days and we still have no response and they haven't come back to the site, because you can see that in your market leader platform, have they been back to the site, we're just, at that point, we throw them on a drip campaign and we just send them our trash until they unsubscribe or call us. Now, believe it or not, we've had people that they don't respond to any of that, they don't respond to anything, and 18 months later, they respond to like a little flyer that goes out and they go, oh, I was just looking for your contact information. We're ready to buy now. And you're like, you couldn't answer like 19 of my phone calls to tell me that you were just waiting. No, they couldn't. So just get over it. You got to stay on them and keep with them. Does that help?
Just tell them you'll call tomorrow. I started doing that and it works. If you don't answer today, I'll just check back tomorrow.
I like it. That sounds like a threat almost. It's perfect. All right, so let's look at Placester. I like Placester because it's simple, it's easy, and it works. It's really, that's it. And you're already paying for it. So let me see here. It would help if I could log in. It's looking for the Apple TV. I thought it was going to do something. It didn't do it. Does your AirPlay not work far away? Oh, there you
It
go.
should work fine. I used it last week when I talked. Probably use it.
Probably. Are we up? We're close.
Completely down.
Now I did it. Wait for it. I got Fighting Irish.
I need to take that down.
There we go. Now can you all see what I'm doing here? All right, so here's my Placester website. It's pretty basic how this thing works. I click on a house, and then it says, give me your name and phone number. There's a gatekeeper standing at the door of my open house that says, name, phone number, email, let's go. Before you get in here, I want it. Now, if they click on the little black button at the top, it's going to take them out. It takes them back to the beginning of the site, and they go, oh, wait, I wanted to go to this one. Where we can play this game all day. I got time. See how it works? It's pretty easy, right? That's my Placester website. And you can turn your Placester website on or off for lead capture, and I'm going to show you quickly how to do that.
But it doesn't check the email to see if it's...
It does. It actually won't let them input an invalid email. It does a quick ping on it. So, I don't think so. I think I'm on the regular one. So I go to technology, and I go right here to KW websites, and it takes me to this page. I click on go to my website, and it takes me to this little back-end thing. In this little back-end thing, you got to make sure you have your IDX and all that set up. If you don't, just meet with Joel, and he'll get it done. From there, I can click here. When I click in here, if I want to change my lead form, I go here to lead capture. And you should have two things. It should say passively or aggressively. What you just saw was aggressive. Passive turns off the whole little pop-up box thing. So if you just want to have a great customer service experience and give away all the free info that you want to give away, change it to passive. The only way you'll get leads if it's on passive is if somebody literally clicks on something and says, please call me. Just understand, remember the numbers. You got to generate a lot of traffic. So I always leave mine on aggressive. So with aggressive, you can go in here, you can customize, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you three things. One is blog, one is classifieds, and one is paid. Okay? For paid, I'm going to show you Facebook. For classifieds, I'm going to show you Craigslist. Now remember when I said we're going at the speed that I can teach it, not the speed that you can comprehend it? We have 8 minutes to show you those three things. So, blogging, super easy. See right here where it says blog posts? I'm going to click on that. There's a little plus button right here. I click that plus button, and I come up with a really super awesome title. What's a really super awesome title? That's all you need to think of. The consumer you're trying to attract, what would they be searching? Okay, I'm going to give you an example. I made a blog post just before this, and it's called How to Start the Home Buying Process in Tucson. I figure at some point in the world, somebody will go to Google and they'll type that in, how to start the home buying process in Tucson. Now, if you want to know and you're nerdy enough, go to this site, keyword.google.com, and you can actually look up how many people are typing in whatever you want to put there on a monthly, weekly, daily basis within your zip code, without everything, right? That's like the next level. If you're like me, you just throw a lot of content out there. And then I'm going to repeat the question at least once in my text. So what I said is, often we're asked the question, how do I start the home buying process in Tucson? Step 1, are you paying cash or obtaining a loan? If paying cash, step 2, find the right buyer's agent to represent you. If obtaining a loan, step 2 is talk to a lender about what you can afford and what you're willing to pay for. Typically, there's a big difference. So many buyers go out and start their search. I'm just creating a little bit of content. The key here is we want to stay under 900 words. And you're going to take what people search and you're going to restate it different ways. That's the easiest way to write a good blog post. So you think, how to start the home buying process in Tucson? Often we see people that are asking, how do I start the home buying process in Tucson? Well, the best way to start the home buying process in Tucson is to, do you get the point? Pretty easy, like you repeat the question back a few times, a few different ways. You just put that out there. When you hit the post button, it's going to pop up at the bottom of your page, and it's going to become a blog post that looks just like this, how to start the home buying process. Hopefully you'll put a better image on there than I did because I didn't put one. You can even use videos. Now obviously I don't have time to sit and blog for my Tucson team, so we have a company, they're called Viral Marketing. We pay them $575 a month. They hold me accountable to doing like 4 or 5 videos a month, and they do all this for us, and they just deal with it, okay? You are now bloggers. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was that? 2. It's pretty easy, right? Okay, strategy number 2. I'm going to go to this site, and it's called Craigslist. And when I go to Craigslist, I'm going to post interesting ads. So what's the ad that I posted up there? Somebody read it. What's it say? The most expensive home with a pool in Tucson. When people are just ripping through the Craigslist feed and they see the most expensive pool with a home in Tucson, what are they going to do? I'm curious. What's that all about? And they're going to come. Now here's the thing. Craigslist doesn't allow for HTML, so you cannot make that link clickable. No matter what you do, all you can do is copy and paste the link. When they take the link and they paste it, guess what it's going to do? It's going to show them a picture. There's going to go, by the way, you want in? Let's go. Pretty easy, right? Craigslist is free. So the key is now I'm going to go to my site and I'm going to figure out what do I want to search for. So if I just go to my listing search, so I picked a $17.5 million house. That's like 175 normal houses in Tucson, by the way. So if I wanted to do something like this, like here's a fun one to do. I could do 4-bedroom homes, 3, 4, and then I could go to a desirable part of town. It's like Oro Valley for us is a desirable part. So if I go to a 4-bedroom home and I just zone the map in, and then I drop the price down, and I go to like, there's probably not much there. Oh, now we're starting to get a lot. So look, here I have my results are 12. Do you see where I'm seeing 12? There's 4. Right here, it says 1 through 4 of 4. So right here, what I just did is I created a search for the 4 most affordable 4-bedroom homes in Oro Valley. Now all I have to do is go here, copy that from there. Now I have a Craigslist ad that's called, check out the 4 most affordable 4-bedroom homes in Oro Valley. Will people click on that?
Yes.
Right? Post interesting ads, create interesting searches, and then link back to them. Last one, Facebook. Now, if I go to Facebook and I grab this same thing, and I go to my Facebook account. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to click right up here on the little droppy arrow, and I'm going to click where it says Create Ad. Here, let me make it a little bigger. Create Ad, or I can manage ads. I already have my ads live, so I'm going to hit Manage. We may go 2 minutes over, sorry. Can you all see how much I've spent on Facebook? It's like $7,300. Obviously this works, or we wouldn't be spending that kind of money on Facebook. This is the one thing that costs money. What I'm going to tell you on Facebook is if you're going to do paid Facebook, like $10 a day and 3 months is really, if you can't dedicate $10 a day for 3 months, I'd start over here and do more open houses until you build the budget to do this, okay? Because if you do less than that, you're going to have a really hard time creating enough velocity to make this thing work. So a week ago when I had this idea to teach this class, I said, all right, what's an interesting ad that I could run? Believe it or not, it's still like 103 degrees in Tucson right now. And so being that it's 103 degrees, what kind of homes are people looking for? AC and what else? Pools. So what I did is I went through my website, going back to over here. I went to the listing search. I narrowed down a neighborhood that I like. What happened to your internet, Jim? It could be. Come on, listing search.
And if you keep complaining about my computer, you can use your own.
I'll get mine back tomorrow. I'm good.
You better stop complaining about mine right now.
I just sent it to Apple. All right, so here's what you do. So you go to listing search, and in the little at the bar right here, if I wanted to do a special search, I could literally type in the keyword pool and a zip code, and it'll show me every home in that zip code with a pool. Really super easy. Then all I would do is copy this. I'd go to the ad portal, and I'd create an ad set around that. It's so much simpler than it sounds. I wish I could get the internet to work to show you all this. Who's created a Facebook ad before? How hard is this?
Mine's working. You just get it.
I think yours just fixed Jim's.
Yeah.
We're good. If this was working, I would claim it as mine, but since it's not, it's Jim's. Okay, so I called this campaign Buyer Lead Gen. I ran a 30-day campaign. I put a $20 a day budget. So far I've spent $21.34 today, $199. Now, I ran a little A/B test. These are link clicks. I was running about 40 link clicks a day up until October 5th, and on the 6th I changed it and I stopped the ads from displaying on mobile phones. So this was just let Facebook pick the placement. This was me picking desktop only placement. I'll tell you, it didn't really make a difference. The lead flow is the same. At $20 a day, I'm getting about a lead and a half a day. No big difference on the two. Here's what the ad set looks like. Okay, let me just click on that one more time. So here's the ad. So you'll see the ad objective is clicks to the website. So now you can see the post. The post is 5 homes with amazing pools in Tucson for sale now. They can click through. When they click on the house, guess what it does? Please sign in. It's really, the strategy is so basic. Whatever it is, it's drive traffic, get them to the site, ask for their information, then follow up like crazy.
Where's it linked to the site?
If they click on the picture, it links in the site right to that listing page.
This is the Keller Williams site that they provide for all of us?
This is your free Placester site. Well, not free, you're paying $25 a month. So look, in a week, we generated 6,255 people for $199, and we have 5 people that registered, one of which we're actively in dialogue with. To me, that's a pretty darn good investment, and we didn't even broach this subject or this subject on my team because I don't have time to do these. It's easier for me to put my credit card in here than it is to go do these. But based on where you are in your business, any of the 3 of these work. What do you mean?
Because the sky's the limit, right? So
Mhm.
we can,
So we're already doing almost $3,000 a month in social media ads, but it's all managed by a third party. The only reason I even did this was just to demonstrate to you guys that you can, one, do it yourself, and two, that it works quickly. And you see, if I go to my Placester site, and I just click on leads, I did a test one, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the last week. And then I got one person that said, let me just look at the property at badidea.com, and their name is Bad Idea to Force This. You're gonna get one of those. You're gonna get probably 2 or 3 of those for every 100 leads. That's okay, right? What'd y'all learn? Let's recap and then we're done.
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah.
So if you have $3,000 to spend, would you rather put that into one basket, one house, one ad, or would you divide that up and have 10 ads with a $3 budget?
Good question, and I don't know enough to know. I'd rather hire one consultant that is good enough to do it all.
I can kind of answer that.
Go ahead.
So if you have $3,000, what you should do is spend a little bit of money, run different ads, see what's the most effective, and then run just the most effective one.
There you go. See, look at that.
Trial and error in the kind of ads that you run, and truly understanding what's going to draw you the most leads from it.
So when I did that one, all I did was rip off what these guys do. That these guys do they manage all our social media at Team Leads. So I mean, you can see this ad's been up for a couple weeks and it's had 43,000 views. Same kind of stuff. Question?